Hey guys, Mr. Riz here to help you out with the 226 assignment. And with 226, we're going to make a model two different ways. We're going to do the bottom up and then the top down. And what we're going to make, we're going to make a pen. So with a pen, although there are technically more components than this, we have a cap. We have break this apart. Hopefully it doesn't explode on me. We have a case or shell, say. And then we have kind of two parts here together. We'll separate the two. We'll call this the tip, and then we have the lead itself. Now, even on the tip, you have like a metal point here, and then even a ball bearing. We don't need to get that specific. We can just call it like the plastic tip and make it look pretty good. So we're going to make this first using the bottom up. So with bottom up, we make each piece separately as its own separate file, and then we go through and assemble it together. So what you probably want to do is make sure that your design view is over here. You know, I want to make sure that I'm sharing it. I'm sharing the right screen. Yep. And we are going to, in our data panel, let's make sure we are in our folder, find the Mr. Riz folder. And I'm going to make a new folder called 226. Open it up. Okay, so let's start with the, I don't know, start with the ink. Okay, so the ink, now we can measure this out. It doesn't need to be exact, but we can kind of go through here. So the ink is just strictly a tube. So let's create a sketch here, create on this one here. We have a very, very small cap. I'm going to do like 0.1. It's probably even smaller than that. Just a number to remember here. 0.1, and about how long is that? About 4 inches, I would say. Gonna move my face here. It's zoomed in a whole lot. Zoom out. I'm gonna extrude that out. 4 inches. And there we go. That's pretty much what our ink is going to look like. And you can say, you know what? Let's save that file, save, and we're going to call this ink. And even, you know what? If we want to, we can go to our bodies here and get a little fancy here. We're going to change the physical property of this ink. Can I make like a clear plastic maybe? Yeah, acrylic clear. Ooh, I mean, that's good. It's very clear. I just can't see it at all. You know what? I saw like it go, all this resin here. That's a good one. All right, I'll save that. So we got the ink saved. All right, next, let's make the tip to the pen. So the tip to the pen, if we look here, goes, the ink goes inside of it a little bit, kind of has this like flared out edge here, and it's fairly long. So it's definitely something that the ink needs to go into and then kind of goes down, and we'll assume that the ink just kind of stops here at this tip. So, and I would probably say that's about an inch with a half inch each here. So let's go create a new drawing here, new design. And let's start this here. Create a sketch. I'm going to just start here. So I'm going to start with the bottom of the cap because that's kind of easier to me. I'm going to say it's pretty circular here. Actually, it's kind of hollow. So I'm going to guess maybe like 0.3 with a 0.1 circle on the inside. Actually, it's got to be a little bit bigger than that. So can I edit, change that to measurement? How about 0.11? No, so much larger. All right, that's good. Finish that sketch. And I'm just going to look at like this part up to here. I'm going to extrude that up like probably like maybe 1/4 of an inch. All right, then it looks like we kind of have this like little flared section that's slightly bigger, still like hollow. So I'm going to make another sketch on here. A slightly bigger circle. And this is where we can kind of just mess around to see what it looks like. Yeah. Good. And then to make it kind of go up, remember we can do like that offset plane. And we can go real crazy with this, but I'm just going to go over here, create a, where is the offset plane? Construct, there we go. Construct an offset plane. So I'm going to say off of here, probably like another 1/4 inch. And then I'm going to create a sketch on that offset plane here. And I think that goes back to kind of this shape here. So starting another circle about as big as that. Oh, and we also have, well, we have kind of a hole in there. Let's finish the sketch here. So what we can do here is we can shell, or we could do, I guess we could have made a revolve. That would be different ways to do this. Let's see, where is, well, a loft, that's what we want to do. I'm going to loft these up to here. That do the inside here, and we'll join it together. Looks good. I'm going to change the view here, kind of see. I changed this body here. Let's see. All right, so that hole doesn't go quite through all enough. So what we might need to do here is to make a hole here. Make it go 0.11 diameter and make it go a length of another 1/4 inch. I guess we could have done it from the top too. There we go. Seems a little off, but well, I'm going to do that from the top here. So I'm going to create a hole on this. Oh, I don't have a center point. That's probably why I can't make a hole. Let's create a sketch here of the center point. There we go. Now I can make a nice hole that goes through here. Hole right at that spot. 0.11, a 1/4 inch long. It's going to meet with the other hole there. There we go. Got a little fancy at that point. And then what we want to do is kind of make another point here with like the metal end here. So with the metal end, we probably got another coin that goes through. This is getting real fancy here. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make it like a ball. I think that might be easier to do. So let's create a sketch. Now, if I'm going to do a revolve, I'm going to do it on one of these vertical things. And I might do the spline tool here. Actually, I'm going to do a line. This line probably goes up another 1/4 inch. And I'm going to just use the spline tool to kind of like get a little curve there. Oh, that piece here, that piece there, and then okay, and then make a straight line that goes across from here to here. There we go. Whatever. It's going to look okay. Finish that sketch, and then here we go. I'm going to select that little profile that we made here. I'm going to revolve it. That's the profile that I want. And it's selected and then axis. I'm going to rotate around that center in there. Now, if we want, we could change some of the appearances or properties of this. I can make this part here like a little, let's see, metallic, metal. There we go. Making that look good. If I want to, I can change those appearances too. Gray's good. Okay. So we got that. We save this as the dip. Okay, next, shell. This looks a lot easier. So the shell needs to fit inside of this cap, which it has a outer diameter of 0.4. It still fit this inside of it, which this has a diameter of 0.3. So kind of think about it. It's got to be as wide as this, the outer diameter, and as big as this. And if we want, we look at the ink, got to be at least, that's the radius. What is the length? I guess we can measure this, inspect. Right here, the diameter, the radius is the length. I forget what I said, 4 inches? Yeah. Wait. Close it up. Inspect. clear here to here. There we go. Yes, 4 inches. So it's got to be at least 4 inches long. All right, so let's make a new design. File, new design. All right, we're going to make a circle here. Create sketch. There we go. That circle needs to be 0.4. And then it needs to be the inner diameter of that shell needs to be a little bit smaller. So this is where I have to kind of go back and through. What did we say what the tip was? This is 0.3, so it's got to be a little bit bigger than that. 0.32. Finish that sketch. We got to extrude this piece here. Got to be slightly bigger than 4 inches long, so 4.1. And then what we need to do, since this is hollow, we do need to put a cap on the end here. So I'm just going to go to this side here and create a, don't even need to create a sketch. I'm just going to click here, click this inner circle part too. Oh, I guess I do need to create a circle. Let's create a sketch right on here. Just one big circle. And extrude that out. And this piece too, just a little bit. Cap it off. I guess what we could have done is just make a really deep hole too. And I'm going to get fancy here. Let's make our body. We'll add a physical property to it. Red plastic, my red pen. Feel good. And we can save that as the shell. All right, then lastly, we need to make the cap. Now the cap goes over the shell. It fits on there and it has a little piece here. So we pretty much, I mean, there's more to it, but we can pretty much just think of this as a slightly big cylinder with a little point at the end, or a tip at the end. So now that we got in mind, it's got to be a little bit bigger than our point. Let's go through, let's make a new design here. And let's go to create a sketch, make a cap. So make a circle here, slightly bigger than 0.4. How about 0.41? And I would imagine that is about a good, just over an inch, 1.2 inches long. Sketch. Mouse is going crazy here. Extrude this out. 1.2 inches long. Okay, I could have guessed. I guess I could have made it hollow, but what I'm going to do is what I didn't do before. Let's create a sketch here of a center point. You know, different ways to do this here. Make a center point. Looks good. And then I'm going to make a hole that goes through here. This hole needs to be a little bit bigger. Actually, the inside diameter should have been a little bit bigger. Ooh, realize I'm making some changes here. Let me cancel this. So the outside diameter needs to be bigger than 0.41. So we can kind of edit the sketch here. Let's make this 0.45. Now it's slightly bigger here, and now the center point's there, and now I can make my hole fit the shell, which has to be bigger than 0.4, so 0.4. Oh, that's the depth. I was like, what? No, the diameter needs to be 0.41, and the depth needs to go all the way down, but not quite through. So how about 1.4? Okay, good. And then we need to add this little flat piece here. So what we want to do here is let's make a sketch here. So we need to make a sketch of we need to put a plane though here off this. So let's construct an offset plane. offset plane needs to go up a little bit, so we can mess around with the distance. If you think about our outer or we got 0.41, we can do 0.41 divided by 2. Look, change the side view right on top of there. So now I can create a sketch here on this plane that we did. There we go. It takes a second to highlight it. And I'm just going to make a rectangle that starts a little bit off of it here. Goes down. And then I'm going to extrude it up a little bit. The only thing I'm going to make sure we do is join it. So it's together on there. Just looking at here. My hole. Oh, you know what? I do realize with my hole, I put a taper on it. Oh, there we go. Went a little crazy. Okay. Problem is here, when you look, my hole goes all the way through because that goes at an angle. If I go back to my hole and edit that hole, I'm just going to get rid of that taper. It needed to be a flat, a counter, or not a flat rope. And we can go through here, bodies, and we can edit the physical appearance, physical material. And we save that as the cap. All right, so for the last part of the bottom up, we're going to go through and start assembling this here. So we got everything made. We got our ink. We got our tip. We got our shell. We got our cap. So I'll start with the ink. I'm going to click and drag the ink onto here. Say that. It's going slow. And it just goes. There we go. Click and drag the ink onto there. I would say that ink is in a good spot. And we are going to make sure we also pin that into a spot so the ink does not move. All right, next, let's put the tip on there. So I'm going to put the tip here. Now, it does remember, it puts it in the middle, but we will move it around. So just sliding it over to the side, saying, okay. And now we're going to do a join. So we're going to look here, got to change our view, our perspective. I want the bottom end of that circle set. Hard to see here. Yep, there's the inside circle part. Tip of that cap is going to then go to meet up with the end of the ink. All right, remember, if anything's wrong, you can flip its direction if it went in wrong, or you could slide it in and out just a little bit here. Whichever works. And then our motion, we should be rigid, right? Because that ink is stuck to that tip. Okay, next. We got that. Go back to the home view here. We got our ink inside of our tip here. Let's put our shell on. So click and drag the shell out. Okay, it's kind of right there. I'm going to scooch it over to the side and press OK. Now what we want to do is have this edge here meet with this edge here. So our center points are going to line up with those center points. So we're going to do another join. Do the center of this circle. It's going to match up with, turn my camera around. Center of that point there. All right, so now we have our shell is on our pen. Press OK. Looks good. And it is a rigid joint. So it is all stuck together. Last thing, we got our cap here. So click and drag our cap out here. And then we got cap. Now we can move it around. We want to make sure it is in there. So think about it. Our cap should go off this end here, shouldn't line up with this part of the cylinder. All right, so we are going to go ahead and create another join. Going to go with, okay, the center of this circle here is going to line up with the center of this circle here. Now, somewhat, we can kind of adjust it. It usually goes a little bit further down. And now motion, I think what we can do is get pretty crazy. We can do a cylindrical motion, meaning we can rotate it around and slide it back and forth. Now, I'm not going to worry about mins and maxes. We can go through that here, but we have a cylindrical joint, so I can move it around. I can turn it around and stab. Technically, I can go a little too far. There we go. So this is the bottom down, or bottom up. We started with each piece separately, and then we made through. So a file, save, pen, bottom up. All right, so now what we're going to do is make a new design, and we're going to do a pen from the top down. So we're going to think about every piece and put it together. So we'll start with the ink again. Now, to save time here in this video, I'm not going to change any of the colors or material. I guess, well, maybe, let's see, say that, but I get it. All right, so same thing. We'll just make our ink. Our ink was what? 0.1. And it was 4 inches long. Let's finish that sketch. Extrude that out. 4 inches. There we go. And okay, so other than appearance and my mouse not zooming in the right way, here is the ink. Now, when we do top down, we make the body, we make the component that we want, and we're going to go to bodies, right click on bodies, and do create components from bodies. That makes it a separate component now, which the first one is kind of weird to make its own separate component, but as the process goes along, we're going to rename that component as ink, and then we are going to pin it down. If we want, we could right click on there, we can change the we could change it to whichever one we want it to be. I think that's what we did for ink. Okay, so next, what we want to do is to do the tip. Okay, tip was kind of the complicated one, but we can see here when we make through this, we can kind of see what's going on. So the tip here, I'm going to start on this edge, and I'm going to kind of work backwards with the tip. So the tip, I'm going to start with the part that is coned and then work down from there. So I'm going to work up and I'm going to work down. So we know the cone is a little bit bigger than this. So we can just kind of eye this up here. And we can finish that sketch there. And then I can go through here. Okay, I got this figured out. So what we got to do here is going back. Once we make our circle here, and I want to start making the tip, I'm going to go down from here and kind of make our pieces. So I'm going to go ahead, select this piece here, and I'm going to, let's actually go through. It's going to be slightly different, but we're going to just extrude it out, go this way here. The thing that we want to do is, okay, I only go like a 1/4 inch. Oh, it should be a negative 1/4 inch. Going backwards. Big thing we got to do is not join, not new body, but new component. We're making a brand new piece. It's going to be a new component. Right, and then I can do another little piece off of here, maybe slightly smaller. So let's create a sketch on this one. Oh, that's there we go. All right, so we'll extrude this piece out here a little bit more. Once again, now we are joining to this component. And then we need to kind of get this end here. I'm going to just create a little flat lid here just to kind of give us some space to play with. There we go. And now we can go through and create our sketch on this plane here. Yeah, go over here, this plane. what's it going to look like using our lines here? About start from the center about yay long, start from the center wide. This is spline tool. Finish the sketch. And to revolve this here, this around the axis that it like, and we're going to join it to there. Actually, yeah, we'll join it. If I want, I can click on this piece here. Move that just a little bit. Click on that piece. Change its appearance. Okay, so here's the thing with top down is once we have a piece in its spot, and I can rename this as, where's rename? There it is. Rename this as tip. We can do an as join built. So under your assembly there, head, we got as built joint. And so we can say that's the component we're going to select to this. They're going to be rigid. So they are now stuck together. Okay, next, that was the tough part. Next, easier stuff. Let's get the shell. So the shell just needs to fit onto this piece here and go over that piece there. So we are going to create a sketch on this plane here. We need to make it starting in the center this wide and another sketch that thin. There's the sketch. And if you look here, we got a little piece here that we can kind of maybe select and extrude out. That little piece there, extrude it out as long as we need to. That looks good there. And the big thing is we're going to make it a component. So there we go. And we can call this, rename it, shell. Now with the new component, we probably got to put a little end cap to this. Create a sketch. Go on this side here, making it as big as we need to. Go just one circle. And say, hey, this circle here with both pieces. Yep. Our shell's done. And we can go through and say, hey, let's change the physical properties of the shell by right clicking on it. Okay, then next we got to do the cap. And the cap, we can kind of do it over here. So let's create a sketch. I'm going to create the cap off of this piece here. Okay, we are going to make the inner diameter a little bit bigger than this, right? And the outer diameter a little bit bigger than that. And we are going to extrude that out this way. That looks about good. It's okay. Make a new sketch here, put a piece here at the end, making a circle. That out. And then we need to put a little flat piece on here. So remember, flat piece, we can do that a couple different ways. We can make an offset plane. This is actually where it's probably a little bit more difficult. So we need to make an offset plane off of this about how high. Sounds good. Actually, probably a little bit more. Yeah, we can do that. 0.25 should be fine. We're going to create a sketch on here. But we're going to go over here, draw on a rectangle. Yep. And we're going to extrude that down. Just going to make sure that it joins there. Now, this is where we might have to be kind of careful with our numbers. Got to be a little bit more, but not quite enough. There we go. Touch there. join that. And there we go. We're going to go, once we got that, we'll create a pop component from there. We'll call that the cap. Now, I just realized with our shell, that can move around. So I'm going to get rid of the cap. So remember with our shell, we need to do like an as-built joint. So we can say as-built joint, we're going to say shell and the tip, those are selected. They are rigid, they are stuck together. Put the cap over here. All right, we're going to do another as-built joint. And we are going to do the cap and the shell. Now I'm going to do a cylindrical one, which we do need to snap, and we need to say where we're going to snap it. Snap it right here. And here we go. And the type of motion, snap it again. There we go. And that looks good. So we got our cap here that we can move around just like before. Don't worry about the limits, but there we go. So there we go. We can file save as. This was top down. All right, so there's the two examples. You guys will turn those in on Canvas. If you guys have any questions, make sure you ask. But hopefully you guys can see the benefit of both of those. All right, thank you guys for watching. Sorry about some of the technical difficulties, but you know that happens. All right, you guys have a good one, and I will see you later.